What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing tonight? Thank you guys so much for joining us. Of course, my name is Anthony, founder of Becoming JD. What's going on, Sword Coach? What's going on, Nancy? What's going on, Notary? What's going on, Isaac? Thank you guys for staying up late at night. I know you guys are grinding. I'm praying for everybody who has the LSAT in 3 days, sending prayers and positive vibes your way, y'all. As this room continues to fill up, go ahead and drop and let me know where it is you're viewing our session from. And also let me know, of course, what else I asked? I'll say where you're viewing our session from. And also, of course, wherever you are in your journey, I always tell people that I make a promise. I make an oath that whatever we are in our journey, that whatever question that you have, I'm going to be sure to answer that question, okay? We got Nancy holding it down in Dallas. Konnell, thank you so much for joining us, brother. Of course, Sword Coach, keeping you in my prayers, sis. Nattery, as our room continues to fill up, let us know where it is that you're viewing our session from. Tonight's session, of course, is going to be a very unique session. You know, one of the things that I always try to do is make sure that you guys have the resources, the tools that you guys need to be successful. And after reading in the comments what my man Konnell did, after, of course, bagging the acceptance at Baylor Law and killing it his first year, I want to make sure that you guys also have those same tools to ensure that you're able to perform and do your best. And so, of course, after I saw his comments, I was like, man, we got to make sure and get him on a live so that way you guys are able to get some of the tea in regards to what my man is doing so you guys could be able to go ahead and follow suit. So we're going to let the room fill up just a little bit more. What's going on, Jen? What's going on, sister? And, of course, let's see who else we got here. We got Mary Poppins. What's going on, sis? I ain't seen you in a while. Let us know where you're viewing our session from. Of course, my name is Anthony, founder of Becoming JD, where our mission, our goal, of course, is to help you guys get into law school so you can manifest your lawyer dreams. I know tomorrow we have a special guest also. Young lady by the name of, is going to be coming on from before you take the LSAT. So make sure you guys sign up, Sign up for the study hall that's going to be tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Look, the gems that she's going to drop you guys tomorrow, you have to pay to get. So she's going to be dropping gems for you guys tomorrow for free 99. So bring your questions to make sure that you guys have everything that you need to know about the LSAT. Don't struggle in silence. Silent Zoom Study Hall, of course, is free 99. It's in the link in the bio. And again, I want to make sure that you guys have all of the resources you need to be successful, all right? What's going on, Daisy? I see Mary Poppins is holding it down in DMV. That's what's good. Mac Mittens, thank you guys so much for joining us. Lily, thank you for joining us, sis. Mississippi holding it down. I love it. MISSI. Crooked letter. Okay, we got Brittany in the house. We got Atlanta holding it down. We got Dallas in the house again. But again, on tonight's session, you guys, what we're going to be talking to my man Konnell. He just finished up his first year of law school at Baylor Law School, you guys. And he wanted to drop some information, and I think it's going to be very helpful for you guys. All right, Full Body Frequency, thank you guys so much for joining us. Let us know where you're viewing our session from, of course. And, of course, we're going to go ahead and get my man Konnell on the line. And one of the things I tell people that if, in fact, the information you join in this session, what's going on, Vivian? If you're joining this session and you have questions about law school, the LSAT, whatever, make sure you drop it in the comments because I want to make sure that you come away fed and full, getting the answers that you need, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and get my man Konnell on so we can go ahead and get this knowledge because I want to make sure you perform your best on the LSAT, okay? So make sure you stay tuned, Full Body Frequency, all right, sis? Make sure you stay tuned, Vivian. I want to make sure that you hear this. Daisy as well. What up, man? How's it going?
How you doing? Thanks for having me. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. Everything's good. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. One of the things that I always tell people, I says, I created the Becoming JD community so that way we're able to help each other. And, man, you were dropping so much tea in the comments. And I was like, man, we got to get this young man on the IG Live to drop some of that tea. And so I want to give you the floor just briefly. What's going on, Miss Marie? To go ahead and let people know who you are. Tell them a little about your story. Because one of the things I tell people, I said a lot of times we see people in law school or we see lawyers and judges and we be like, man, that can't be me.
Right.
And it's like crazy. No, it can be you.
Right.
So I'll go and give you the floor, introduce yourself, and tell them about who you are and what you're doing.
Thank you. So first and foremost, thanks for having me, and thank you for creating the Becoming JD page, because it definitely kept me going when I was on the journey of just taking the LSAT and trying to figure out the ways in which to go about conquering the LSAT. Again, my name is Konnell Woods. I am a first quarter student, so I haven't finished my first year completely yet. Baylor, we have quarters, so first quarter student attending Baylor School Law in Waco, Texas. I've always kind of wanted to go into the field of law. I grew up telling my parents that I wanted to be a police officer, but as I got older, I was kind of like, nah, I don't really want to enforce the law. I kind of want to just advocate for people. And so that's kind of what led me to law school. I took the LSAT 3 times. So any struggle that people are having trying to take the LSAT, I've scored significantly lower than the median, and I, got just above it, which kind of helped me get into law school at Baylor. But I've kind of been everywhere on the spectrum. So any problem that people are experiencing, I'm pretty sure I can tell them what to do and what not to do. And that's kind of why I want to pay it forward. And that kind of leads to the conversation, but I know we'll get to that. So,
Oh, absolutely. Now, listen, man, did y'all just catch what he just said? Listen, all right? Took the LSAT 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things oftentimes, that message that we oftentimes think about, man, it's so hard. Maybe this is a sign that I should do something else, But what made you say, you know what, man, bump this. I'm not about to let this LSAT break me. What
Right.
made you say, I'm going to figure this mother effer out?
Right. So just also important to know, I took my first LSAT the first semester of my senior year, which was 2020. And the next, I guess the last LSAT was in 2022, to be honest.
Right.
So just to keep in mind, like that was a time gap for me of, I was working and I was not working and trying to study and dealing with family issues. So all in between that time, I was dealing with life and studying for the LSAT at the same time.
Wow.
So essentially, it was just something that I really wanted to do. Not failure, I won't say failure, but like changing my path wasn't an option for me, and it wasn't really something I was interested in. And so that's kind of what kept me going. Everybody has different struggles, and everybody takes, but I believe in signs and God and everything. He's ahead of my life, so I really think that was one thing. Like I made my request, and He provided, and so that's kind of what kept me going. Something that I didn't want to have any regrets. I didn't want to be in a situation to think, well, man, I wish I would have pushed harder. And so that's kind of what led me to continuing to take the LSAT, and here we are. So.
And what I want you guys to understand, again, I'm with my man Konnell, 1L at Baylor Law School. Challenges happen, you guys. And it's going to continue to happen. But at the end of the day, we all are faced with that situation where we have a pivot. It's like, do I want this?
Right.
Man, do I want to stay in the position where I'm at right now, or do I want to just try to figure out a way to make it happen? And, a lot of times we have to understand that, man, it's just going to be uncomfortable.
Right.
I'm just going to have to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so I oftentimes have you guys share your stories, because then everybody be like, oh, snap, he going through it too.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so ain't nothing wrong with me because I'm struggling. Ain't nothing wrong with me because it's hard.
Right.
I'm just going to be stubborn enough to say, I'll be damned if I don't figure this out, right?
Correct. And part of that too was I've never had accommodations throughout high school or elementary school or even college. And so that's, again, what led me to searching. Before I took the LSAT, I spent $3,000 on varsity tutors because that was what I knew.
Yeah.
Got tutoring sessions. I was like, okay, I'm going to be ready. Took my first LSAT, and I scored significantly lower than the median. And I was bummed out. Like, I went through a week of just turning off my phone, not want to turn on a light. I was down bad. And so, again, it's one of those things where you have to, the more access you have to the information, the better you're going to be. And so that's where this page kind of really came into effect. And so you can't, just getting in is half the battle. It's hard. I promise you. That's an uphill battle. But once you get in, it's like, man, okay, how I'm going to make sure I'm passing the classes, how I'm going to make sure I'm doing everything I need to do. So when I found this page, that's when everything starts to really break through. And that kind of led to your accommodation post that you made a few years, I think it was a while ago. And that's why when you posted it again, I was like, man, I need to let him know how much it helped me, because when I was looking, I didn't know where to go. And so when you mentioned TWC and just looking it up locally, it worked. And I was like, okay, this is a start. And I was so scared because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get it because I never had accommodations before. I didn't know if the LSAC would even honor them, because I was just uncertainty and crept in. And so I went through TWC, got set up with a vocational rehabilitation counselor, like you suggested.
Right.
I had to prove that I was working. because I live in Waco and go to school in Waco, and then a resident of the state, like you mentioned. And yeah, I got set up and got tested, and everything worked out. And so I used the paperwork that I got from that psychologist, submitted to the LSAT, and literally within a little over 24 hours,
Yeah.
I was and I'm talking about double time. I'm talking about pen and paper tests. They mailed me everything that I needed to take the LSAT. I didn't have to take it on the laptop anymore. We can take it wherever we want to. And so I got breaks as needed. It was everything that I'm like, man. And just that alone helped me out, like, in all seriousness. Like,
And then it opened the door up for law school, and then it just opens the door for the bar. And the thing about it, you guys, is I remember, like, for so many people from similar communities like ours, where unfortunately, ADHD and things like that have negative stigmatisms attached to them.
right.
But shoot, our white brothers and sisters, they don't give a dang. Hey, whatever I need, I'm going to get
Right.
in order for us to do better. And for a lot of us, like, I think about it, like, man, think about it. You killed it at Baylor undergrad without accommodations.
Right.
For most of our life, you guys, we spent so much of our life, so people who may need accommodations, fighting with your hand behind your back and still succeeding.
Right. Because a lot of the times what that looks like to us is just focus harder, push through,
Yep.
accommodations, just because it's not something that we talk about. But it's more so, it's not even giving you a hand up, but it's more so just leveling the playing fields. And that's really what helped me, because without the accommodations on the LSAT, I would have never scored just an appropriate score to get into, to give myself more options. That's all you want to do. You want to give yourself more options, and you can't do that if you are battling test anxiety. ADHD, all those things, those are all reasons and valid reasons why you should look into getting accommodations. And even if you don't know and think you do, the worst they can tell you is no. But if you know yourself and you know that something's not right, I started to feel during the practice test, I'm like, man, something's not right. 35
Right. Right.
My processing speed is not where it needs to be. And so that's kind of, like I said, that's what led me to being persistent with receiving those accommodations and kind of continuing to figure out, okay, like, how can I go about this? Because I know I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
and for those who did not see the post, let's kind of break it down to them so they can know how to process it, okay? And so in every state in the country, every state, even Hawaii is a state too, even Alaska, even though they don't have a law school there, in every state, they have something called rehabilitative services. And your tax dollars, our hard-earned tax dollars pay for that. And it's called vocational rehab.
yeah.
And what it does is it provides you an opportunity to get testing to secure employment.
Right.
And so I remember, man, when I was broke, like taking the streetcar when I was in Louisiana. And I was like, I can't afford $1,500 testing, but I knew that I needed it. And I was like, I got to figure out a way. So Voc Rehab, someone told me, go to vocational rehab. You guys, go to vocational rehab. And I don't care if you in the backwoods, I don't care if you in the borough or in a parish. Of course, I'm talking about New York, talking about Louisiana, or even in the backwoods of South Carolina. There is a vocational rehab near you. And if you got to drive a little bit, I think you're worth it, right? Am I right, Konnell? They worth it if you got to drive just a little bit, right?
It's worth it.
And share, I'll let you go ahead and finish the rest of, what's the next step of what they have to do after they find a location?
So once you find a location, you want to call again and speak to a vocational rehab counselor. You want to look into opening a case. And so I was looking to open a case for testing anxiety and to get tested for my processing speed and just your reading levels, math level tested. If you've already had like an IEP or like received accommodations in elementary school or college, you can still do it. It'd be more beneficial for you to do it, but you already have a history of receiving on the case.
Right.
You can try to use that for the LSAT. But if in case you don't, it's not an end-all be-all. You can still receive on the LSAT. And this is for the people that did not. For me, I didn't have those in or in college. So this is why this was super important for me to do. But again, you want to open a case and you set up an appointment and you just let them know, what your symptoms of and why you feel the way that you feel. And so, like I said, mine was testing anxiety and along with just testing my reading levels. So I got set up with a local psychologist. And so there I did like different assessments that he had me do. And then after that, he wrote a report, sent it back to CWC, had a meeting with them, and then they kind of read me what the report said. I got a copy of it as well. And then I saw that I had an anxiety disorder and just, reading comprehension deficiencies and just different things. And so I was like, okay, this is good to know, about yourself. It's always important and eye-opening. And so that's what I sent to the LSAT online, and that's what got me the accommodations. I paid nothing. I paid absolutely nothing for this. You don't pay anything. It's not a scam. Like, all you do is pay your time, show up on time, show up to your meetings, and that's it. Like, it's the easiest thing you can do.
And listen, y'all heard it, right? I did it in Louisiana. I did it in South Carolina. My man did it in Waco, Texas, you guys. And so the thing is, it's about you, and this is a kept secret. Nobody tells you guys about this.
Nobody tells you.
I mean, let's be honest. The LSAT barely even tells you about accommodations. You got to go and search and find it. And so I want you guys, this is an invaluable resource. And I know I read the comments that I made underneath your comments. I don't know if I went too strong at the young lady, but the thing about it is, you guys, and when you get graded in the LSAT, when you get graded for the bar, when you get graded for law school, everything is blind.
Right.
Everything is blind. And I can honestly tell you, I felt a certain kind of way when I went to sit for the bar, or even when I went to do my finals in law school. I was like, man, I'm about to go into this small room, and I'm going to be here by myself. Turn around, look, I was like, hold on. They're going to do top 3%. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Think about it, you guys. For so many of us, we've been struggling, and we thought it was us. We thought it was something wrong with us. And having ADHD, having anxiety does not make you any less smart, any less intelligent. And I want you guys to understand that this is a system that's created to help you. But one of the things I'm sure my man Konnell can attest to, these law schools are run like a business. They will provide you with the resources. You got boat rehab in every state, but it's going to be up to you guys to be able to capitalize and utilize it. They're not going to say, hey, we here. But you have to be able to capitalize and utilize it. Now, this is the one gem I did not know about, because you started dropping some gems that I didn't know about. So please take the floor and share about the tuition and all this other type of stuff.
Exactly.
So, Coach, you better listen to this.
Exactly. So when you receive accommodations, or when you go to your local TWC and you are eligible to receive services, and you have done the psychologist report and everything, and I see a question here. I can answer that right now. Does the psychologist write a letter? So the report that the psychologist actually writes for you, that's what I actually ended up sending to the LSAC. They have paperwork that they want you to fill out online. Right. I think that I was running into a problem where I needed to be in by a certain deadline, and so I think that. So I didn't even have time to submit the LSAT paperwork. I submitted exactly what the psychologist wrote for me, and with the copy of the picture I had, took pictures and uploaded them, and they submit that worked. So I didn't even need an actual letter to LSAC, just what he wrote on my report. And so I submitted every document, every page, didn't leave anything out, and I was approved with a little over 24 hours. So
don't get overwhelmed with the paperwork, because you can get overwhelmed. You're like, well, dang, I don't have my ACT. I don't have my SAT. If you didn't get accommodations for the SAT or the ACT, just don't sweat it.
Yeah, don't sweat it. Because
literally just submit the paperwork that they have for you. Yeah. And all else, though, Konnell, you know what you do? Call them.
Exactly.
A lot of times we'd be hella scared. Call them. Yo, I just took my testing. And literally all you got to do is print out the paperwork from the LSAC, hand it to your psychiatrist or counselor, and have them fill it out. And I know I went extra because I was hella paranoid. And I was like, let me also give them a copy of your testing that you complete.
Right.
Okay. And so, did that answer your question, Nancy?
Yeah, I hope that answered your question. Let us know. But that leads to the tuition assistance. So whenever you are eligible for services, depending on where you are and everything, just ask them about the tuition assistance program. And so what they do is they have a certain dollar limit for every credit hour. And so because you're eligible for services, and they're helping you get to your goal, because you have to have a goal. And so ours would be lawyers. Right. They're helping you get to your goal to keep your case open. They'll actually help you with school and pay for some of the costs. They're not going to cover everything, but it'll be for instance, it's like a couple $100 for a certain amount of credit. So depending on how many credits you're taking, they'll cover a certain amount for that. And it's just free money. You don't have to pay back, but it's a DAR scholarship. And so whenever you're deemed eligible, I don't see why you shouldn't ask those questions. You should always ask, okay, do you guys have more information about the tuition assistance program? I get for that, and like I said, it's new to me. I didn't know any of this, so My counselor told me they actually have a tuition assistance program, and I'm like, sign me up. Like, this is perfect. It's money that you get that can benefit you in the long run. So yeah.
Did you get that data? Did you get and can you go ahead and Konnell tell them, is it renewable?
Yeah, so as long as you're gonna have different requirements too for the like they'll check in on you and make sure your grades are good and stuff like that. But it's renewable as long as you're satisfying all the requirements and being a full-time student. Whatever requirements they set for you and you guys talk about and agree on, it's renewable. And so that's one thing I'm looking forward to. And I just make sure like every semester, we have quarters at my school, so that's also kind of what keeps me going too. So
you got that, Emily, right? So renewable. You mean it don't have a GPA requirement like all these other scholarships that law schools be giving you?
Right. So yeah, you guys should look into that. Like it's definitely a benefit. You can't go wrong with it. It can't hurt you to look into this. So that's why we're pushing it, and it's definitely something that we should talk about more often. As far as how people look at me at my school, I haven't to answer the question on the under your post. I've been so focused on trying to really buckle down on the finals and stuff. I'm like, I don't have time to think about what people are about me with accommodations because I'm finishing right on time. This is my processing speed. I stay in my own lane, regardless of what anybody has to say. You have to claim your education in the way that you see fit, and this is a lot of life and trying to stay ahead of the curve because you're graded on the curve. That's one other thing. So yeah.
And the thing about it is the thing that's so beautiful about it. And I'm sure it was so relieving for you, Konnell, is how easy it was for you to get approved for accommodations for law school.
Yes.
It was literally like, here's your paperwork, here's your accommodations.
It was like, that's it? Like, I'm like, had I not done that, I would not have performed the way I did on the LSAT. Had I not received the accommodations and used them during law school and utilized them, I would not have finished the exam at all. Like that, it would have been virtually impossible. And so this is not a hand up or it's not abusing the system. It's literally just leveling the playing fields for students who have those learning differences and have to, need extended time and just write it. I even handwrite my exams too. So it's whatever works for you, you have to stick by that. You don't focus on what everybody else is doing, what they're using, and how they're studying. Stay who you are. If it works for you, stick to it. If it doesn't, you got to throw it out. That's one thing I've learned about in 1 quarter of law school. You have to be easy to adjust, and you can't hold on to bad habits. So
yeah, Miss J. Brewery 7 said the longest wait was for the doctor report. Yeah, that's the part that you got to wait. We just sitting here like, okay. Yeah. But one of the things you want to be mindful of is I think for the LSAC, literally at the top of their form, they say they want you to be able to submit the doctor paperwork and stuff, I think, at least 4 weeks before your scheduled exam.
Correct.
But more likely than not, they are very lenient on that because they don't want the ADA up in their butts telling them that they're not giving them accommodations, especially now with the new setup. Because now you guys are going to have the approval either going virtual for the flex or doing it in person, I think, starting this month. And so one of the things I also want to make sure, because listen, you guys, I had to get dismissed from law school before I found out about this opportunity. Okay? Because that's how I was able to get back in. It's because for a lot of my times, you guys, when I was at Morehouse, when I was in school, I just got unlimited time. And so for a lot of people, that's what it was. You finish your test when you finish your test. And so I did not find out about some of these things that I was struggling with until I first went to law school. And then I'm like, whoa, what's going on? What do you mean turning your test? I ain't done yet.
Right.
Well, huh? And I'm like, well, dang, I knew all the information. My grades didn't show that, but it took me having to get dismissed to find this out. And so we created Becoming JD because, man, I don't want none of you guys to have to go through none of that stuff. And Konnell, you having the insight and the curiosity is now opening up so many doors for other people, like Xavier Bryant, like Anita, to be able to utilize this as a resource. And I swear to God, y'all, don't hear me. I don't want to hear you say, well, I can't find no location. You may have to commute.
You may have to, yeah.
You may have to commute, Janice. But again, the payoff is so huge.
It's worth it. The pros outweigh the cons, for sure. The pros outweigh the cons.
And again, you will be shocked Because when I went to go sit for the bar, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's going to be a small room again. Ain't going to be nobody here. Nah. I'm like, hold up. And I think I was the only black person in there. But it let me know, it's like, man, more people need to know about these resources so they can be able to capitalize and utilize them. Because it's not an issue of smarts. It's not an issue of intelligence. It's an issue of tools.
Yep.
It's an issue of you being able to learn what the most effective way that you need to be able to learn and figure things out. A boss Kisser said, I had instructors beg me to get the extra time accommodations because I struggled to finish my exams. And that's a beautiful thing. I didn't even get tested until my teacher in tort, she was like, Anthony, I know you know this stuff. Maybe you should get tested. And I was like, I don't know. But I think I'm smart. So naive to the whole fact. Completely naive. But I see we got a lot of people with the questions in here. Yeah. So let's see here. Nancy wants to know, we can do handwritten LSAT. That will help my anxiety so much. I don't know about handwritten LSAT. Have you ever heard of a handwritten LSAT?
No, I have not. I'm trying to read as well. I don't think so. I don't never have that.
Now I know they do handwritten blue. You know the blue book the blue book exams in law school, and they do handwritten also for the bar exam.
Yeah. And so did she say handwritten LSATs, like handwrite the test?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can mail that all to you. I received those accommodations. Sorry, I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. But yeah, they can actually mail you. So if you want, like I said, as long as the report mentions, the desired requirements and everything, that's why it's important to go talk to a psychologist. They'll ask you what accommodations you're looking for. That's also one thing I didn't even know. So I handwrite my exams. I get breaks as needed. Once you look online, on the LSAT sheet, it gives you options of like. Yes. And so I would click all of them that you think you want. The worst that you can get is a no. I didn't receive one of the accommodations I wanted to get. I can't remember what it was, but I didn't receive one of them. But the rest of them I got. And handwriting my exams was one of them. And so they actually send you a box. They send you all your tests, taped up and everything. And you still need the laptop for the proctor, for the online viewing. But other than that, you can handwrite it, everything. And once you finish it, you actually close it, take it to FedEx, and you ship it back the same day or the next day. Yeah.
You got that, Janice? You got that, TK?
You can handwrite your LSAT.
And this is the thing that I don't like. This is information. Like, of course, we know we have a love-hate relationship with the Law School Admissions Council,
right.
They have all these fairs all over the country. They need to have a table or some type of video sharing this information. But they keep it hidden almost strategically as if people need this resource.
Right.
But the only way they find out is like through wonderful opportunities where you share your story, which is, I really appreciate you taking the time. Again, my man, we're with my man, Konnell Woods, 1L, extraordinary at Baylor Law School, holding it down. My man, I think we have one of my students at Baylor, R.S. Stevens. He's a 3L at Baylor Law right now. And so, let's see, that's awesome. So, I want to also talk to you about the process of applying to law school. And I know, especially when it came down for you making that choice to go to Baylor Law, what did you do in your application that you think makes you stand out in your essays?
So, for me, the best part about my application was the writing part. The hardest part for me was the LSAT. And so I don't know if that's everyone's struggle, but for me, the easiest part, I loved writing my essays. I had 2 essays. I had a personal statement that I had written, and I submitted both of them to my tutor to get edited. I had a diversity statement as well. I also had an addendum, and if you are not familiar with all those, I can explain those. A personal statement, you're going to have to write no matter what. And if you're going to, I think, a HBCU, you might have to write a why HBCU type of, a why FAMU or why Howard, depending on the school you're going to. But I didn't attend one, so. But personal statement is just going to be any statement, writing an essay about your life, and you can talk about anything. I would definitely start jotting ideas down about the things that matter most to you in your life, thinking about that, and then kind of taking a topic and just writing about it. And so that's kind of personal statement. Diversity statement is going to write about some type of diverse way that you would be a diverse candidate for that particular law school. And so for me, I wrote about my Blackness. And just my growing up, my upbringing. And then I also wrote an addendum because I took the LSAT 3 times. I thought it was important for me to write a letter of addendum, kind of explaining why there was a huge jump in my score.
Right.
Kind of what I did to improve. And you don't want to get too much in details. There's a way to word it, which I'm sure becoming JD Anthony will help you about. So definitely get plugged in with him. But you don't want to talk about too much. But you want to let them know, like, hey, I was very intentional about improving my score. This is what I did to change it, and then leave it at that. And you just want to do your research. Anytime you want to go, you're serious about going to a school, you want to do your, you don't want to figure out like what resources the school has to offer, where the school is, what the school likes to do, what events they have. You want to be able to kind of talk about some of those things and why you would be a perfect candidate to help flourish the school and help benefit the school. Because it's not only what the school can do for you, it's really what you can do for the institution. And so definitely knowing that going and when you're writing and then portraying that to admissions counselors when you're writing. So.
All right, Bambino baby asked, she said, when did you apply?
So I applied. So Baylor. So I applied to. I can tell you where I applied and when I applied. So I applied to about 4 or 5 schools. I think I applied to Akron Law in Akron, Ohio. I applied to Texas Southern in Houston, Texas. I applied to Baylor School of Law. I applied to UH, I believe, University of Houston. And then I think the last one was like Texas A&M School of Law. I got rejected from TAMU. Also, I applied to Texas Tech too. Forgot about that one. I got rejected from one of those schools, which was Texas A&M. But I applied. I actually have a page, like a screenshot of when I applied, but it was in 2022, obviously, for the next year. But Baylor actually was the only school that had a fall, spring, and summer enrollment period. So I actually applied to all 3 of those. And so at one point, I was really heavily planning on attending an HBCU, but just for my situation, I started to really sit down and think about the pros and cons of, leaving Waco versus staying in Waco. And so I really environment and feeling like I had the most support. And I felt like when I sat down at the end of the day that Waco was going to offer me the most support for my situation. And so that's kind of what led me to applying to the school. And then I got rejected for the fall. I got waitlisted for the spring and waitlisted for the summer. So after I got denied for the fall, I was like, man, I was bummed out, but I was okay. I got 2 more chances. Let's kind of see where we're going with it. And so spring, I got waitlisted. I was like, okay, cool. I'm still in the battle. Then I got rejected. And so I was like, man, you know what? I was like, I'm probably just going to give up. I'll probably just go to another school or something. I was going to be butthurt. But at the end of the day, I was like, man, I tried. Because, again, shoot your shot at these schools. Like, the worst they can tell you is no.
Right.
I was surprised that I even got waitlisted, to be honest, y'all. I also took advantage of, and I know I'm going all over the place, but optional interviews. Every school doesn't force you to have interviews. I did optional interviews, even though I've been in Waco since 2018. I went to tour the law school like 3 times. Did optional interviews. The person I spoke with on the tour, she was an option to interview with, and so I was like, I'm going to keep her. Awesome. And so turns out she's one of the most amazing people ever. Love her, but you have to show interest. You can't just assume that these schools can read your mind, like, oh, they're really serious about this. You gotta show yourself approved. And so again, I got denied for the spring. Got a call in March, get off the wait list for the summer, and I was like, sign me up. I'm already ready. I'm already here. Look, I can meet y'all at the school today. So,
my man is dropping some gems. So let me break it down for you. One of the things, Sade, make sure you write this down, April. Listen, when you're applying to law schools, sometimes they will offer you multiple different admission cycles. Like I knew Baylor does that. I remember R.S. Stevens went through that process. Also, Southwestern University in LA does that, where they offer admissions different cycles, where you can apply sometimes for the fall, the spring, or even sometimes apply as a part-time student or a full-time student. Check all those boxes, every last one of them boxes, because that is a way for you to ensure that you're always going to be considered. You got that, Shin James? Right. So that way you're always in consideration. The next thing that he said that I want you guys to think about it, and I'm going to say it, some people may not like it, but I'm going to say it. Remember, fam, you guys, it's about the law life. It ain't about the nightlife. It's about the law life, not the nightlife. And so sometimes, and because of that, schools that may not have the nightlife, they come out the pocket. They come out the pocket something serious. And I know I made a post with that with schools who are supposedly not in chocolate cities that really provide a lot of resources and support. Right. And so sometimes you have to be able to say, you know what, man, it sure would be nice for homecoming to go to this particular school, but man, I need to make sure that I got the right bread, and I got to make sure that I'm in the right situation for me to do my best.
Right.
And that may be different for everybody. You see what I'm saying, Eileen? And so that's the process that you have to evaluate. And the last thing my man talked about, boss kisses, I know you did this, sis, too. Man, I know you're applying, but it don't mean nothing unless you go visit the school.
Right.
And I know, for example, like Konnell, you were able to go to Waco because you were in Waco. But for you guys who may not be in the vicinity of it, law schools do pay for your visits.
Wow.
Law schools pay for your visits, which means you guys, and I had a couple students do this on the low. They went to go visit Hawaii Law School, had no intentions of going, but got a free flight, got free stay, got free lodging, rental car. And of course, we're sending our prayers to everybody else on the island right now because they had a terrible storm that happened. Right. But utilize these visits. When you go to any law school website, they give you an opportunity to click up at the button to press about a tour. Call and click and say, I'm interested in visiting the school. And again, kind of what happened with the person that you visited? Drop that gem that they did not get again, please.
Yeah. So when I visited, let me think. I visited TSU. That's the only school that I really took a visit in. And this is also a thing to consider. And I know it's different for everybody. If you apply to a law school and you're not serious about really going, and let's say that you apply and you, I guess just even to backtrack, if you don't feel like you're gonna visit the school or you have no interest in visiting the school, I wouldn't apply. Like, don't waste your money. These applications are expensive. You also have fee waivers and everything too, but like, don't do yourself a disservice just applying. I was someone who was like, the first time, because I didn't mention that I applied to law school twice. I applied to law school with my first score that was significantly lower than the median and got rejected from all of them too. So, because people told me, oh, the LSAT doesn't matter. It's just a way to get in. No.
Raise your hand if you didn't heard that one before. Or the crazy one is, I didn't even study for the LSAT the first time.
Yeah, no. Listen, some people don't have to study. I had to study. And like I said, the time gap was 2 years. Take the LSAT again. I'm here to tell you, as someone who was like, I'm not taking it more than 2 times. And as someone was like, I'm not taking it more than once. I would be at my friend's house, see some of them on the lot too, studying relentlessly, like all day, every day. I didn't have a social life because you have to study, man. And so like, take it again. I know you didn't get the score you want. Take it again. No buts. Take it again. Go back to the drawing board. Maybe find a different tutor. I was tutor hopping too. You'll find that one person. Once you find that change, yeah, take it again. That's the thing. Yeah.
But again, I was saying, like, and again, I'm on with my man Konnell, 1L at Baylor Law School, holding it down. Just dropped the gym. If you missed what he said before, man, you get accommodations. You may also be able to get some tuition assistance as well. But I wanted you to touch base on what happened when you visited Waco and how that played a role in you getting accepted. You just so happened to go on a tour with someone who you already end up becoming a bestie with on the jump.
Right. So yeah. Again, once I applied to law school, I definitely was intentional about taking tours. And that Baylor wasn't the only tour that I took, but it was the one Baylor was the highest ranked school that I applied to. And so I was like, of course I'm going to take a tour. I'm already in Waco. I'm in online. And you can do that at any school's website. Go to the website online, set up an appointment, and they take you on a tour. They take you to sit on. I sat in on a class. I think it was Property 1. I sat in on that class. Very different from what I know now, but I just remember going. I was so nervous. I was like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to go here. I don't even know if my score is high enough at the time, which it wasn't. I'm like, this is not an option, but I'm just going to go because this is my first law school tour ever. And so I was like, it was really good to see. Definitely recommend it. And so once I got on a tour, they'll take you to classes that you meet with financial aid. They show you, they give you different pamphlets about the school information, the clubs they have, Black Law Student Association, Hispanic Law Student Association, whatever organization you're a part of. I'm pretty sure the school has, and if they don't, you can start it. Yeah, so went on a tour. Everything was good. Maybe got food or something. But yeah, going on a tour, you have to show your interest in the schools too. They have so many applications they're going through. If you're not there saying, okay, I'm back. I'm here again. I talked to you on the phone. I called the school so many times. I remember getting a call. I remember calling the school and they're like, yeah, I know who this is. I know the sound of your voice. You're not bothering them. And even if you are, so be it. You have to take your tours. Like I said, look into interviews. Some schools have interview processes. None of the schools I applied to had interviews. Baylor has optional interviews, and so I was like, of course. If you know that part of your application is going to be a little bit, let's just say, significantly lower or lower than the average, or just different. If you have a nudge to go to do something extra, do it. Go the extra mile. I did the optional interviews for mine, and they turned out great. Like, they turned out amazing. Like, I think that was my strong suit too. Like, that was my strong, having a face-to-face conversation with someone in admissions and just letting them know who I am and the type of person that I am. And I think that's what kind of tipped the scales in my favor too. Use all your resources. Don't say, "Nah, I'm not gonna write a diversity statement. I'll be okay."
Yeah.
That could be the difference between you and another candidate. I'm not gonna write an addendum. It doesn't matter. My score increase. It is what it is. Like, that could be the difference between you and someone else with even a lower score. Who knows? You don't want to leave anything on the table. Like, just do it. Just do it. You'll save yourself. You'll save yourself time. Just do it.
And I mean, when you think about it, man, we don't want to have to do another reapplication tour.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and when I tell people, I said, there's no such thing as optional essays.
Yeah, no.
And we want to do everything. And I hope you was able to pull from what he was talking about, Shin James or Eileen, how he talked about contacting the schools. I know one of the things I encourage my students to do, and since we all cousins and kin folks here, y'all, I always encourage you guys, after you go visit, send a thank you card. Get the names. When you go to these fairs, I know we just had one in Houston. When you go to these fairs, don't just sign and act like they're not at the table. Get their names. Write their names down. I know one of the things I send emails. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer my question. My name is this and this and this, and I just want to tell you thank you. These things matter, you guys.
Correct, yeah.
We're talking about them making a decision. You don't want it to be like, man, you left something out there. You didn't do everything you could. Because I had a student that just graduated from Texas Southern, and I tell the story all the time. I'm sure you've heard me say it, but I tell it because I may have new people out there. Man, like, being considerate and mannerable goes so far. The gentleman was rejected from Texas Southern Law School on a Monday. He said, man, I did all this stuff. I'm not about to send him this updated resume. It's a waste of time. I said, why not? Let's just see what happens. On Friday, he got accepted.
Wow.
And he just graduated in the top 3% of his class this past fall. So everything matters. And I remember before, he was mad. He was like, man, I did all this Ivy League course crap. I did this, and I got rejected. F them.
Yeah.
Now he's graduating.
Yeah.
And so you want to empty out the tank and leave no doubt. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much for taking the time. I think we have some more questions, though. Jada said, did you include in your personal statement why you wanted to go to Baylor Law? I was told to write a why this school letter.
So like I said, every school is different. If your school requires you to write a why this school letter, then you need to do that. Baylor didn't require that. They were pretty much vague as to what they wanted to do with their personal statement. I added a part about why I would make a great candidate at Baylor Law School and what I would be bringing to the table as an accepted student there. Like I said, if you have a hinge to do it, do it. Add that. It won't hurt. And also, just on a side note, if you are also in a position where you've been waitlisted at a school, that still doesn't mean that needs to be the last time you contact the school. You need to send a letter of continued interest, an LLC. I was waitlisted for Baylor. I sent those as well, and I would send them every quarter, even if I, was rejected by okay, I'm still interested in the last quarter that I'm applying to, and they just keep, they keep them on file. It's just a way to keep the school, in the knowing of like, okay, this person is actually serious about attending if they're off the wait list, because not everybody who's on the wait list actually wants to attend the school. Right. So you need to, keep everything. And if you don't know, ask questions.
And just to piggyback on that, now I like to be extra. Everything I do is more than what you're going to find on Google or in a book. And so when I tell you guys to send your letter to continue the interest, I think about it like a ham sandwich. Everybody going to send in a ham sandwich of a letter of continued interest. I want you guys to add some bacon, some cheese, some salami. And what I mean by that, you guys, is I want you to, in addition to your letter of continued interest, I want you to send 2 letters of recommendations. And I want you to also send an updated resume. because what I've found with this formula, you guys, is when everybody is sending in those letters, you're just looking at a letter like, oh, okay, they're really interested. But I want them, when they go and pull up your file, be like, dang, Kim feeling us like this? Dang, Kim, y'all see all this? She got new letters too? Anytime a law school has to go back to your file, it's a good thing. And that's one of the things that worked tremendously for my man Konnell. Because every time he was calling, that means he was making himself fresh. It was like, oh man, I remember when we met him. Oh man, he's a good guy, right? And the other thing is like, the piggybacking your other questions you asked about, someone asked about your why law school. And what I'll say to that is, think about this, Dr. Lynette. We all like to feel special, don't we? We love it when we go to our phone and we get that message that says, thinking about you. Have a good day. Right? That makes us feel good, right, Nancy? Am I right, Konnell?
Right.
Guys may say, where are you going with this? Well, law schools like that too. They like to know that Nancy took time to go look into the law school, and they found ways to talk about how she's a match at the law school. Right. They like the fact that Konnell, when he wrote about the law school, he did more than just write about the mission of the law school. He actually were able to put themselves in a position where they were able to close their eyes and literally see Konnell rocking. Okay, he got the green and the white coat. The law, they saw him in a sweater. They saw him doing activities. So when you write, even if you don't have the why law school letter, in your conclusion, you're going to talk about the value of what you're going to bring to that law school. And again, right. Eileen, law schools know you play in the field. So that means that why law school letter for every law school is going to be different. Just like my man Konnell. We had our master personal statement, but of course, for every school, what you had for Southern, what you had for A&M, what you had for Tech was different. What you had for Houston was different. And so we have to make sure when we're talking about that why law school, that we're really being able to go beyond. Because I ain't gonna lie, man, I'll be real. First time I did it, Konnell, I just said, I literally I want to really go to this school and just change the school on the last paragraph of every sentence, right?
Right.
And that's probably why I didn't get in the first time I applied.
Right.
But the next time, and what I'd encourage you guys is, and this is kind of might be like, yeah, you may want to do this, is find one thing at the law school that you like.
Right. Yeah.
And I may say something kind of, I may say, no, you didn't just say that. And I'll tell people, we don't want to be predictable. So I'm not going to say the one thing that I like about this particular law school is going to be Boston. Right. They're going to be like, oh, of course. Oh, one particular thing he liked, Lawson. Oh, of course. No, you want to pick out one clinic, one specific thing, and you're going to talk about what you want to do with that particular program, how you want to get involved. I remember for me, I love Tulane Law sports law program. And I talked about it like, oh, I just want to be a part of it. I wanted to show me the money like Jerry Maguire. But it showed them that I was invested in that particular program. And like Nancy just said, we like to feel special. We like to make people think, oh, snap, they're thinking about us. In that same way, law schools are spending all days just looking at applications, bored out their mind. And they're like, dang, hold on. What Konnell wrote about? Let's check this out. And it really helps. It really does. And so, man, you got some more gems you want to drop on these guys? I don't want to keep you too long.
No, you're good. Like we mentioned the whole conversation, accommodations are super, super important. Please look into this route if you don't have, if you can't afford to get tested. This is a way that you can make sure that your requests are still being honored by the LSAT and that you're leveling the playing fields. Like I said, I'm just a first quarter student, so if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Hey, I'm here always. Thank you so much, Anthony, for having me. I hope I answered all the questions. I'm trying to make sure there are no.
For the whole time while you were talking, I was like, oh, did we get them all?
We didn't get. Please reach out to me. There's a ton of accommodations we can do here. Yeah.
We had a Baylor mom on here. She said she's a double Baylor mom. Wanted to show you some love, which is awesome. Let's see here. I think we had the Boss Kids drop some gems on us on here for us too. And let's see here. I think that's it. But I want to thank you again for taking the time to drop some gems, man. I really appreciate you for taking your time, man. Sending prayers and positive vibes your way. And again, God bless you. And again, continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. You're part of the family now, man. Reach out to me. I'm always here for you, brother.
Well, thank you for having me. Continue to do, exceed and do greatness. This page is definitely what kept me going. Thank you for real. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Bless, my brother.
Thanks. See you.
I don't know how to X out of. Oh, there we go. So, wow. Was that not some knowledge or was that not some knowledge? I hope that you guys were able to utilize this as a wonderful opportunity to get access and learn how to secure some resources. This information may not be something that you'll find on Google, but I hope you're able to get a lot of helpful information tonight. Again, tomorrow we are going to be having our silent Zoom study hall with a lovely, lovely, amazing guest. Her hashtag, is before you take the LSAT. Phenomenal lady. She went from community college to Columbia Law School, killed it, you guys. And so now she helps and trains people to help take the LSAT. And so make sure you guys come and drop by. You got to go to the link in the bio to register for that. And so again, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to have some more guests lined up for you again next week. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you need help with your law school applications, click the link in the bio to schedule a pre-law strategy session. I want to see you guys win. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. Peace and blessings.